And so what I do concede is that if I had two choices, I could buy a house and it costs me $1,000 a month, or I could rent and it costs me $1,000 a month. Which would you do? If I'm paying for the house, I would do the house. But I have to actually do the math. The math is, how much is the mortgage? How much are the taxes? How much are the repairs? How much is CapEx? Which I use 10% when I'm investing, but I'm going to have to replace components of that house constantly. So I need to factor all that in. And what we have is we say, blanket, fight to get a house, get a house. You could have been living in a rental for $1,000 a month, and now you took on a $2,000 a month obligation with the house. And then what happens? Americans hold on to their houses about 3 years. They're going to, that pain, and they're getting cooked, right? And they're like, oh, wow, this is painful. And everybody's telling you, hey, it's going to go up in value. And then you sell it. And your realtor takes 6%, and you have closing costs. And you might have taxation. And you have the transaction fees. When you're all said and done, it's about 8% of the value of the house that just went to the realtor who told you to buy the house and then sold your house again. And now you're in the same hunt, and you've been overspending on the house. So you're real estate rich, cash poor. If I had to explain 2007, 2008 to anybody, the big recession, that would be it. Real estate rich, cash poor. I could have all the equity in the world in a property. Nobody would buy it. I'm defaulting. All of a sudden, I can't afford an adjusted rate mortgage. The bank's looking at me like, why would I modify it? And you're saying, but I may have lost my job, but I have equity in my house. But nobody will loan you money on it because it's a flipping liability. So here's the rule. If I could live for less, rent. If I can buy for the equivalent of what I'd be willing to live at, then by all means, go ahead and buy. But do the math and don't buy into this, how much can I afford nonsense that the realtors are going to try to walk you into. You need to do your math. You need to figure out what the actual cost of home ownership is, and then make sure that it's affordable to you. And they'll use all sorts of stuff like, 50% of your take-home pay. What? Are you kidding me? 20% of your take-home pay. Okay, we're in the range. But my God, you'll have people that are literally spending everything they have on their house because they were told it's an asset. It's not. It's going to be their downfall. It's going to be painful for them. And then sometimes, get this, the market not going to be moving all the time. Sometimes you end up with a house and you're trying to sell it. And there was tons of people, thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions, that experienced that in 2008, 9, and 10. In Las Vegas, the value of a house dropped 70% on average. On average. I thought I bought a $200,000 house. I was the guy who was buying them. And we weren't buying them for $200,000. You were buying them for less than $100,000. In some cases, $50,000. Right? The houses, nobody wanted them. Everybody was leaving because the economy went. And all of a sudden you're sitting there telling people, but I have this house. But I have this house. Yeah, you have a mortgage of $150 on a house that's worth $100. Slow clap. You're going to be in a lot of pain. So don't do that. Do your math. Say, hey, here's how much I'm willing to spend to live. Let's say, again, $1,000. I'm willing to spend $1,000 to live. It's in my budget. Find a house that you can buy all in with property taxes, mortgage, everything else for $1,000 a month, and I'm with you. Otherwise, don't do it.